Welcome back to the channel, where we explore the most enchanting tales from the furthest corners of imagination. Today, we have a story about a village on the brink of collapse, two people on a desperate quest, and a legendary creature that grants power not to the strongest but to the most worthy. The village of Oakhaven was dying. For 3 long summers the skies had refused to weep, and the mighty river Viridian, once a brilliant jade artery, was now just a dusty, cracked wound in the earth, littered with the skeletons of old canoes. With their home turning to dust, 2 villagers decided to chase a forgotten legend, the Heartwood Stag. This mythical animal was said to dwell in the deepest heart of the Whisperwood. The tales claimed that the stag, whose antlers shimmered with starlight and whose coat swirled with the patterns of the cosmos, didn't just grant magic. It transferred the very essence of the wilderness to those it deemed worthy, giving them a power that mirrored their truest, deepest desire. The first seeker was Alara, a young farmer whose spirit was as steadfast as the ancient oaks. She didn't want power for herself. She simply wanted to breathe life back into the river Viridian. Armed with only a walking stick and a small empty gourd for water, she was driven by a quiet but absolute need to save her people. The second was Jax, the village merchant. Jax craved the power to command the iron and gold hidden beneath the earth. He dreamed of moving Oakhaven to a richer land, or, if that failed, simply becoming wealthy enough to leave its troubles behind. He carried a heavy iron pickaxe and a coil of thick rope, ready to conquer any obstacle. Their journey into the Whisperwood couldn't have been more different. Alara moved with the patience of the forest itself. She was slow, observant, her eyes taking in the cracked roots of the desperate trees and the faint, dry tracks of starving animals. When she discovered a family of field mice trapped in a crumbling ravine, she didn't hesitate. She spent an hour carefully helping them climb to safety. It was a detour, but her heart felt lighter for the act of kindness. Jax, however, saw the journey as a war. He moved with brutal speed, hacking at thickets with his pickaxe and cursing the tangled paths that slowed him down. He saw the parched wilderness not as a living thing in pain, but as an enemy to be overcome. He pushed past struggling deer and kicked stones into silent, dried-up ponds without a second thought. Finally, after 3 grueling days, both Alara and Jax arrived at their destination, the glade of Whispering Moss. It was a place caught in a permanent twilight, where 2 ancient oaks stood like sentinels over a massive flat stone altar. A low, continuous hum vibrated through the air, a sound you could feel in your bones. And there, standing upon the altar, was the stag. It was larger than any horse, its coat a deep shimmering violet covered in silver runes that glowed with an inner light. Its antlers weren't made of bone, but of crystallized moonlight, branching toward the sky and dripping with a faint blue energy that pooled on the altar stone. Its eyes were like 2 ancient, tranquil lakes, holding the wisdom of ages. The stag didn't move. It simply turned its majestic head, looking first toward Jax, then toward Alara. Blinded by the spectacular sight and his own ambition, Jax scrambled forward. "Great stag!" he cried out, holding his pickaxe high like a trophy. "I have conquered your forest. Grant me the power of the deep earth, the power to find and command all the wealth hidden beneath the soil. I deserve it. I will make myself a king." The stag merely glanced at the iron pickaxe, and a single low rumble echoed through the glade. The blue energy on the altar pulsed once, then shot out. It didn't strike Jax. Instead, it wrapped around his iron pickaxe. The metal glowed white-hot, then instantly twisted and shattered, collapsing into a pile of brittle ash. In that same moment, a sudden, paralyzing fear of the dark, silent earth gripped Jax. The very thing he sought to command now terrified him. He fell to his knees, clutching his head. The stag had reflected his own greed, showing him that the power he craved would only destroy the tools and the land he intended to exploit. "Get out!" a voice echoed through the glade, though the stag's mouth never moved. Shaking with a newfound terror he had never known, Jax scrambled back the way he came, a broken man fleeing his own reflection. Alara waited until the dust of his retreat settled, her heart aching for the raw greed that had just been exposed. She approached the altar slowly, her steps soft on the mossy ground. She knelt, placing her small, empty gourd gently on the stone. "Most ancient and noble stag," she whispered, her voice cracking with humility. "I do not wish to be a queen or a master. My village is dying. Our well is empty, and the river is lost. I ask only for the ability to find and guide the smallest, shyest currents of water hidden beneath the stones, so that I may lead the river Viridian back home." As she finished speaking, the stag lowered its magnificent head. A single pure stream of the brilliant blue energy flowed down its crystallized antlers, past its nose, and settled directly into Ilara's empty gourd. The gourd didn't overflow. Instead, the blue light transformed it, turning the simple wood into clear crystal that hummed with a potent, flowing magic. "The current keeper's gift is yours, child of clear intent," the stag's voice whispered in her mind. "Use it not for gain, but for the flow." Ilara didn't return to Oakhaven. Not yet. She turned deeper into the wilderness, holding the glowing crystal gourd. It was as light as a feather, yet it felt as vast as the sea. When she held it up to sheer rock faces, she could see a faint silver light shining deep within the earth, the hidden veins of water. She hiked for another full day until she reached the choked source of the Viridian, a mountain spring that had been blocked by an age of dry earth and a massive rockfall. She placed the crystal gourd against the stone, and its blue light flowed out, seeping into the earth like liquid glass. It wasn't a destructive blast. It was a patient, gentle magic. It softened the dry, cracked clay and coaxed the smallest trickles of water that had been trapped underground for years. Guided by the blue light, she moved stones with her own hands, clearing the way for the hesitant springs. By nightfall, the trickle had become a stream. The stream grew into a rush, and soon the rush of water became the roaring surge of the river Viridian, reborn in its full emerald green glory. When Ilara finally walked back into Oakhaven, she was covered in mud and sweat, but the triumphant sound of the thundering river announced her arrival. The villagers didn't cheer for a conqueror or a queen. They cheered for a savior. Ilara never received the power to control gold or fire. Her magic, the current keeper's gift, was the power of guidance, patience, and humility. She didn't even keep the crystal gourd. As the river crested its banks, filling the wells and nourishing the soil, she gently set the gourd into the current. It dissolved into the water, its magic becoming one with the river, ensuring that the Viridian would always find its way back home to Oakhaven. And in that moment, Ilara understood a profound truth. True power wasn't about taking from the world, but about giving it a clear, gentle path to follow. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tales from the heart of imagination. We'll see you in the next video.